and refrigerate, right? Like
not like a torture implement, maybe.
No, like maybe if you've had like a rough time of it, that could be soothing, right?
Yeah, not sexually, like maybe a workout. Like your dick is so sore, you take an ice bath.
Why are you? No, it's an iced dildo. It's like it's an ice pipe. It's
dildo's not for your dick, Taylor. Dildo's for your bottom.
Yeah, if you're sounding with dildos, that's horrific.
That's why my dick's all fucked up.
It looks like a corn dog
sleeve. It's like a shucked corn cob.
Who are the
like a corn dog someone pulled the weenie out of?
Ears gigantic, the pygmies? I don't know. I had this idea that Taylor's doing that by sounding, just getting more girth by working in pencils than candles.
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up. Maybe yeah, body modification. All right, I want to talk about ancient body modification. Maybe Wendigoon's ever had some of his creepy ass.
He's an expert. He mentioned before.
Because one of those things I saw was that I think this is that South American tribe that would practice the skull elongation, where they wrap the baby skulls, and you can see photographs of babies that have had it done, and their eyes are bulging. But what they end up with is these skulls that have been found down there, and they look like X-Files aliens. Okay, like legitimately, and they're real. They're human skulls that, through that practice, have been made to look like this. Now, here's what all of the ancient alien people always go to. They don't say those are alien babies, because of course we can DNA test them, or maybe, the rest of it's biologically human, whatever. They say, why were they doing that? Why did they want to look like that? Who were they trying to emulate? Maybe there were some sort of alien overlords that were coming down, teaching them agriculture and animal domestication, the beginning of the skill tree and sieve, pottery. And they had these big heads, and they were like, if only we could look like the gods. Because imagine, if you will, because in Christianity and all of the Abrahamic religions, right? Like God looks like us. It's a key part of it. It's right there in the beginning somewhere. Yeah. If your God didn't look like you, it is.
We are made in his image. Yeah.
Imagine if God didn't look like us.
Is that a real one? No,
I don't think. That's not a real one.
Beavis and Butthead's jaw.
Well, I don't know what Zach's trying to do to me here, but there are real skulls. I don't know. Why don't you pull up that X-Files alien autopsy footage from the 90s too? Like,
you know what's funny? It's like, Kyle, I was I was putting like stock into what you were saying, and like this image, like it didn't
really that just undermined your story.
God damn it, Zach.
You think it was some alien emulation of I was thinking like,
I don't think that at all. No. I'm just saying, like, I've often watched those shows where that's their pitch. Like, hey, this is why they did it, because they want to tie everything that's a little peculiar in the past to aliens, right? And if you can like rope that one in to make that sort of a supporting argument for whatever other kooky shit you've got, like chariots in the Bible being spaceships or whatever, like that's a good one to start with.
For sure. The Bible talks about, Wendigoon absolutely knows more about this, but like, you're familiar with like the Nephilim and all of that. I would love
audience members who haven't heard of it. Can you bring them up to speed?
Yeah. So, all right, 5 minutes out the gate, we're in my zone. Let's go.
Hell yeah.
So in the Bible, there's mentions of things called Nephilim, which also often translates to giants or mighty men. And they're mentioned in the book of Genesis as being the children of what happened when the sons of God mingled with the daughters of men. So some people think this to be the idea of righteous people with unrighteous people, but some take that literally and think it's the products of angels breeding with humans. There's mentions of angels coming down to earth, so a lot of people draw that out of it. See, they got Kyle. It was
You're dangerous. I'm gonna keep your head on his
yeah, Taylor's next, don't worry. Anyway, so giants are mentioned in the Bible. There's some famous ones like Goliath, for example. There's a giant that I believe it was Noah faced giants in his age. So there's a few places that they're mentioned specifically, but there's this idea throughout the Old Testament that they were a reoccurring thing. Like when it ever talks about they go to Canaan, that they see giants in the land of milk and honey that they have to wipe out. There's giants among the Philistines, what have you. So the idea is there's this biblical record of giants, and there's also a record of giants throughout other written histories. Like pretty much every group of people either had a legend or history of giants somewhere in their culture. They tend to pop up around the historical record. And the idea is, since the Bible is the oldest, in my opinion, the oldest, debated between that and like Zoroastrianism as being the oldest religion ever, that it's the first evidence of giants existing. And in the Bible, they're called Nephilim. So yes, Nephilim are like the starting route for a ton of crazy.
I'm sorry to interject.
Theories.
We had a guest like 2 months ago arguing with me, telling me that Zoroastrianism wasn't the first religion. Do you remember that?
Yes, I watched that episode.
I do remember that. Yeah.
That was Aiden. That was Aiden. Yeah.
I remember that became more of an argument than I thought it would be. And I was just kind of like, oh damn, like now we're like getting heated over over like demons and shit.
If it helps Kyle any, the theory that most people have, like myself, who believe that Christianity was, or like the Bible, Judaism at the time was first, is that Judaism and Zoroastrianism were simultaneous, that they kind of branched out at the same point in the historical record. Which I have my own theories that Zoroastrianism is mentioned in the Old Testament as being other religions that are mentioned around the time of Abraham, but blah, blah, blah. You see what I mean? You got me in my zone.
No, that's interesting.
Well, I have been admiring.
Yeah, I like the stuff.
Since the start. I was like, it's cool when we have like a professional level guest on the show.
I like where I'm a Sunday school teacher. Like, you know, a lot of what I do is talking to, you know, people my age and stuff. They're like, oh, well, you know, Christ wants us to live this way, blah, blah, blah. But there's also a lot of, all right, kids, so I found this verse in Genesis. I think it means that aliens came to Israel, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I get to go on my whole rants and stuff. So
that's
so fun. The Bible is kind of exacting when they give the dimensions of something like the ark. Did they ever tell us about how tall these giants are supposed to be? Because that's so important.
Yes, yeah, it does. Whenever it mentions Goliath, which is, there's times that it mentions giants who stand with their waist at the height of man. That's more general. Goliath is specifically mentioned as, I think, 9.5 feet tall.
Yeah, shit. Well, all right.
Like Robert Wadlow size.
Now, when you say 9.5 feet, are you accounting for like their feet being tiny? Did they actually use their foot as a foot in that time? Because to be fair, these are poorly fed Jewish men.
That's true.
5,000 years ago.
Correct.
These are small fellas.
Well, I think they used measurement from your elbow to your wrist or something like that.
They use the measurement of cubits. They use the measurement of cubits. If I remember, it says that he was 6 cubits and a span, which a cubit's about 1.5 feet. So that comes out to a little over 9.5 feet.
Yeah, see that's the problem. So like, obviously there you're dealing with some exaggeration, because like I don't believe that in that time, even with like a pituitary thing or whatever makes people gigantic, that he'd have like the diet capable of surviving to manhood and being a 9 foot tall being.
No, you know what would be funny is like if like that's entirely true, but Goliath was one of those pituitary giants. And so he went out to fight David, and they're like, there he is, the giant. And he has like crutches. He's like, oh. Look at that beast. And they just bully him with a stone. We were going to see if you guys had any medical intervention for him. God, don't kill him.
Old school.